Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this beautiful fold back card that Christine has created using the new Build a Bouquet collection. So I know that lots of you always ask on Facebook when we post the cards and things, oh, how did you make that one? How did you make this one? So I've started to recreate some of the design team's projects over on our YouTube channel as well. So please do have a little look and you will see lots of inspiration. So we are going to get started and I'll pop the overhead camera in to start. So let me pop that down. I have got all of my mats and layers pre-die cut. So to start with, I've taken an 8x8 card blank and I've just folded the front back on itself. We've then got, we're using, so the papers that Christine's actually used on this one are the pre-production sample prints. So the prints that are in your paper pad are actually a lot more vibrant and a lot brighter. So we are using the actual printed paper pad, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do first of all is we've got a piece of silver mirror card which we are going to stick inside of our base card. Now, as always, if you are new around here, all of the materials that I'm using are listed in the description below. So please do have a little look. So we'll pop that one in there, like that. And then we're going to close that up. And then we've got another piece of silver mirror card to go on the front here. So again, a little bit of glue just on the back there. Okay, and we'll stick that one down here. And then we're going to put one more panel of mirror card on the inside here. So you can see this is the start of all of our lovely mats and layers. I'm going to stick that one in there. Like that. Okay. So then we're going to put that to one side, and then I've got some pieces of white, crystal white pearl card and our snowflake paper cut down to fit kind of inside of the project as our mats and layers. But before we pop these in, we're going to glitter all of the edges. So we're going to use our beautiful glass slipper glitter, which is this one here, and we're going to use our chisel tip glue pen, and we'll take a little bit of scrap paper. I'm going to start off by just taking these and we're going to hold the chisel tip glue pen at about a 45-degree angle and just drag towards ourselves. Like that. And then we're going to do the same again. Just working round. Adding that glitter onto there. So we've got those two done. Going to do the same on the larger square now as well. This one. Okay, and then we'll pop that to one side, and then we're going to do the same with our lovely snowflake paper. So I'm going to just whiz along the edge there. One side, keep on going. With these. I know this is a really boring bit to watch, isn't it? But we are nearly done. Boring but essential. This is the thing that I always question on YouTube. How much do you kind of want to see? Because we can't take, we do obviously have to do a little bit of pre-prep. some of the longer projects such as this one, because it would be very boring if you were watching me cutting the mats and layers and everything down. But I do try to show as much as we can, kind of within reason, really. So we'll get these stuck into our base card now. So we're going to grab back in our base card. So the white layers I'm going to stick on flat. The snowflake layers I'm going to pop on foam pads. So a little bit of glue just onto the back of here. And again, completely up to you how dimensional you want to make this. If you want to stick every layer flat, stick every layer flat. If you want to stick them all on foam pads, stick them all on foam pads. It's completely up to you. So that one's going to go in there. The inner panel I'm going to stick all flat just because I think it sits a little bit better then. So a little bit of glue on there. If anyone's wondering why I've got red pen all over my hands as well, it is because I've just filmed another demo where I showed you how to colour in some sparklers. And I also managed to colour my fingers in as well as the sparklers. So that's why my hands have got red pen on. I have washed them, but with it being Copic marker, it's going to take a little longer to come off, I think. So a little bit of glue onto the back of there. Stick that there. Okay, so you can see how that's looking. So then I'm going to take one of these snowflake panels and we're going to stick that down flat in the middle there. So this is from that lovely, I think it's Festive Florals. It's got a long name, this paper pad. Festive Florals, I think it might be. Florals and Foliage, maybe. But I've listed it in the little description below, so please do have a look. So we pop that lovely snowflake paper in there. And then we're going to grab some foam pads and pop these onto here. So we'll do the same on the back of here. This is paper. I'm going to put a few extra on just to support it. There we go, and then we'll open that out. I'm going to pop that snowflake paper in there. Okay, and then we're going to close that, and then we're going to stick this one onto the front. Like that. So that has then created our lovely fold back card. So what we have then done is to create this lovely panel on the front. I've taken our snowflake ovals die and just die cut that from some crystal white pearl card. I'm going to pop that on the front, and we've got the back of that lovely snowflake paper has like smaller snowflakes on, so we're going to use that in the middle. But before we stick that on, we're going to glitter around the edge of here. So we'll grab in our scrap paper again. Okay, and we're going to take chisel tip glue pen, and what I tend to do is just kind of start off by dragging round and then just scribble over all of the snowflakes and stars. And then you can take your glitter. So this one is glass slipper. Dunk in. Okay, and then we'll just work round glitter in this. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way around, scribbling over those snowflakes, like that. There we go. And then we'll chuck that into there. Lovely. You can see how that's starting to come nicely together. So put that to one side. Okay, and then we'll take this piece in and we're going to put some foam pads back onto the back of here, like that. Okay, I'm going to just grab my bin in because I feel like I'm throwing stuff all over the place. There we go. So then we'll just peel the backs off of there. And then this one can be stuck in the middle, like that. Okay, and then what's really important now when we stick this on is we only want to put foam pads on half of it, because obviously we don't want to tape that card shut. So what we'll do is we'll grab our foam pads. We'll just start to work down on half of the image there. Now, as this is going to be holding a little bit of weight because it's going to have the bouquet on, just going to add an extra couple of foam pads just onto there. So then we'll just peel the backs off of those. Okay. And then we'll grab this in and we'll stick that onto there. Okay, so that's then created that lovely fold back. So then we're going to add 3 jewels in the bottom corner here and 3 jewels here. So I'm going to use my Everyday Essentials bling box to do that. Let's just grab my tweezers and then I've got my little jewels here. Okay. Okay, so that's the basis of our card kind of made up. So we'll start and work on the bouquet now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some crystal white pearl card. So let me just get that out of my little box here. Okay, so we're going to start off with some crystal white pearl and we're going to take our bouquet builder stamp, which we've got here, along with our bouquet builder die. Okay, and we're going to start off by taking our little anti-static bag and giving that a good dust over, like that, just to get rid of any fingerprints or static that may be on there. And then next up, we're going to take our clear embossing ink pad and we'll ink up our stamp. So just throw the die across the table there. There we go. So just ink this up. So lots of light tapping all over the image, like so. And then we're going to take our stamp. We'll stamp this down like this. You want firm, even pressure all over the image. And then we're going to lift that off. We're going to grab in our scrap paper and we're going to take some polished silver, super fine embossing powder. We'll sprinkle that over the top. That's going to go straight back into the jar and then we'll heat this up. So the silver is a really nice, easy one to see when it starts to change. There we go. So just going to give that a couple of seconds just to cool off, and I'm going to take my scissors and just roughly chop around the edge, just so then it's a bit easier for sending it through the die cutting machine. So then we'll take our die along with some low tack tape. We're going to pop that die over the top like this. That gets stuck there. That one's stuck there. Okay, and then we're going to take our die cutting plates. So we're going to use base plate, plastic shim, cutting plate on the top. And then we're going to send that through our Gemini machine. And we'll grab that at the other side. Give that a little wiggle. That's all cut through. Just gets a little bit landlocked because it's quite a detailed die. There we go. So then we've got our lovely bouquet die cut out. So what we're then going to do is we're going to take some of our lovely Diamante Sparkle glitter, and we'll start and glitter this one up. So Diamante Sparkle is like the chunky version of glass slipper. So we will take our glitter along with our PVA glue, and we're just going to go in and just add the PVA glue onto here. Like this. Don't have to be kind of too careful either. There we go. And then we'll take our Diamante Sparkle glitter, just sprinkle that over the top, like that. So then when that's dry, it will look like this one that I've got here. So this one's all nicely dried, and you can see we've got the glitter on there. So we're going to flip that over, and we're going to just pop some foam pads on the back. So what I quite like to do with this is you can do a double layer of foam pads if you want. With this one, I think I'm just going to keep it a little bit flatter because the card is quite dimensional already. So again, we're going to put some little foam pads just onto the backs like this of here. There we go. And then we'll just peel the back off of this. Sorry, I'm doing this over the bin. I know that is the most terrible camera shot, but anyway. Right, so then we're going to stick this in the middle of our base card, like that. Okay, so that is then going to be the basis of how we're going to start to build up our lovely bouquet. So next up, I've got some white vellum here. And I'm going to fold it into 3. So 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, then going to take your 2 dies. So you've got a larger and a smaller one of these poinsettias. So you're going to need 3 of the larger and 6 of the smaller. But because we've folded that vellum into 3, it's going to die cut us 3 at once, if that makes sense. So we're then going to take our die cutting plates. I'm going to whack my metal shim in to my combo. So I'm going to use my base plate, metal shim, plastic shim, dies cut side up, cutting plate on the top. We're going to send that through. And then we will grab that at the other side. There we go, give those a little shuffle, and then you will have die cut 3 each flower. I have, it's just they're stuck together. There we go, 3 of that one. And 3 of this one. There we go. So then we're going to put those to one side, and we'll grab in our 2 stamps from our little stamp set. Okay, just this one here. So we've got the larger one. I'm just going to do a couple of each to show you. But what you would do is take your little poinsettia leaves, give it a dust over with an anti-static bag. And then we're going to take our clear embossing ink pad. Okay, and we're going to stamp this down like this. There we go. Lift that off. Now I'm just going to check on Christine's finished card. She's used metallic silver sparkle. So we're going to take that embossing powder. We're going to dunk our little flower into there. And you can see we've got the little veins on there. So what we would then do is heat that up. So we're going to use our heat tool now. So we'll grab hold of this little flower. There we go. Okay, so you can see how we've got that flower heated up. Now, on the finished card sample, we've got the flowers in blue. So what we've done is taken tumbled glass, distress oxide, and coloured the flowers. So we can take a little bit of scrap paper. Okay. Just going to move my microphone up a bit because I'm just a bit worried about the sound. So we're going to take that and just ink over the flowers like this. Just a little bit of ink onto there. And I'm inking on the front side. So what you can then do is just take a piece of kitchen roll and rub that embossing powder off your embossing. Okay, and you can see how that's just tinted the colour of the vellum. Okay, so if we then pop that to one side, I've got some that I've already done. It's quite a lengthy card, this one. So we've got 2 of the smaller ones that we've made up, and then I've got 1 of the larger ones. So what you're going to do is just curl these kind of with your finger and thumb, like so, or you could bend them over a pair of tweezers if you find that easier. It's just a little bit of a bend down the middle, like this. Okay, and what we've done is gone in and added some little dots of PVA glue and then covered that with the Diamante Sparkle glitter. Okay, so what we're then going to do is take our dry clear PVA. We're going to put a blob of that in the middle. We're going to stick that one there. Pull those petals up, stick that one there. So then you can see how you've got your little poinsettias ready to go. So we did the exact same technique with the smaller ones. So then we can grab that finished card back in and we can use a little bit of pin flare to start to stick this together. So a blob of glue on the back. I'm going to stick that one there. Smaller one there. and the other smaller one just over here. So you can see how that's starting to come together now. Now what I've also done is taken the little berries stamp that comes in the Build a Bouquet set, and we've stamped those out onto some crystal white and just glittered them with that diamante sparkle glitter. So we've got those ready to go. We've also taken some heat resistant acetate and stamped these little branches out. So I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is take your little branch stamp that comes in your Build a Bouquet set. Okay, you're going to take your heat resistant acetate. We're going to give it a good dust with an anti-static. Now again, it does depend on the acetate. Some of them work better without the anti-static, some of them work better with. So please kind of just have a little look. Try your acetate that you've got at home first before you kind of before you go for it, and just see what works best with the acetate that you've got. So we're going to take a clear embossing ink pad. I'm just inking this up just off the desk, just because I don't want to put it on top of that acetate. And then we're going to stamp this down. So you don't need much pressure, just light fingertip pressure, and then lift off. And then we can take our metallic silver sparkle, pop that over the top, tap away the excess. Okay, and then what we're going to do now is heat this up. So we're going to use our heat tool. And we're going to heat that up. And then we'll take our scissors and we're going to cut out around this. So again, you can do it really roughly, you don't have to be too careful. So pop that to one side, and then we're going to start and tuck these in behind our bouquet to kind of build it out a little bit, because this then adds that extra bit of depth and dimension. So a little bit of pin flare glue just on the back, and then we can just start to kind of tuck these little additional branches in. So you can kind of add as many or as few as you would like, really. So we can tuck one in there and up the top there, I think. Nice. And this then gives you that additional depth and dimension to the bouquet by doing this. I'm going to lift this one up, slide that in there. There we go. And then we've got these little berries, which we've also glittered up. So we can put a little bit of glue just on the backs of them. And then slide those in. I've got quite a few of these just to pop in. Again, you can kind of really play about with this at home. You're kind of not under the pressure of the camera like I am. There we go. So we'll leave that at that. And then I've got my little sparklers just to go into the middle of my flowers. So I've got 3 of those there. And next up, we're going to create the lovely double bow to go on the front. Now, before we do that, I've got my little tag from the Christmas Tiny Tag set, which I've die cut out. I'm going to dust that with my anti-static bag, and I'm going to take my little With Love at Christmas stamp. So I'm going to ink that up and stamp that down like that. And then we're going to take our metallic silver, polished silver superfine, which we've got here. So we will just heat this one up just a little bit. So dunk that in. There we go. And then we'll heat this up. So again, just taking your heat tool, holding that heat tool still. As soon as that embossing powder starts to melt and change, we'll move that heat gun over the image. So we've got our little tag ready to go. Now for the bow, what we've done is taken a piece of our crystal white pearl paper and covered it with a double-sided adhesive sheet. So what we can then do is we can take our die cutting plates and we can die cut this one out. So we're just going to pop that in to our sandwich. Now it's a little bit harder to kind of do your low tack taping on, just because it's obviously got that waxy resist paper on there. So I'm not going to bother taping it, we're just going to run it through and risk it. So then we'll lift that out. Okay, and we've got our lovely bow bits die cut. Now you do get the little centerpiece, but we're not going to use that on this one. So we'll take that out of the way. Okay, so we're going to use a little bit of just some scrap paper to work on here. And we're going to use our Diamante Sparkle glitter, which is beautiful. So we're going to take that one there. We're going to take our little pokey tool. We're going to peel the back off of there. Dunk that into our lovely sparkly glitter. I mean, look at that. It is beautiful. So that's that one done. Then we're going to do the same with the next one. And then we're going to do the little ribbons. And if you wanted it to be like glittery on both sides, pop your double-sided adhesive on both sides of the paper before you die cut it. Peel that off of there. A little bit of glue, not glue, sorry, a little bit of glitter. Okay, and then we're going to pop that to one side. Okay, and we're going to take our hot glue gun. So I do prefer using the hot glue for this. So what we're going to do is curl the sides of the bows in like this. And then we're going to take our hot glue gun. I've literally just turned mine on, so it might just take a couple of seconds just for a little bit of glue to come through. So then we're going to take this and fold the bows into the middle. Like that. Give that a little squish. I'm going to do the same with this one. A little bit of glue in the middle. Again, if you're using a hot glue gun, please be careful with your fingers. I've done it far too many times. Stick that down, just let that grab and cool off. And then we're going to take those two bows and we're going to stick them together. So a little bit of glue in the middle. I'm going to cross them over like that. Okay, and then we'll take our little ribbon tails and we're going to stick those together, so a little bit of glue on there. So one thing with a hot glue gun, isn't it, you end up with little trails of glue everywhere. So we're going to stick that one there. Like that. And that's going to go on the top, bit of glue. And then I've got a little jewel here, another sparkler. It's going to go in the middle. So that has then made the lovely bow. Okay, so we're going to stick this onto our base card. So a little bit of glue on the back of there. And then we're going to do the glue on the back of these to go in the middles of our flowers. There we go. And then we've got our little tag, which we can give a little curl and then tuck that underneath. So we'll probably just use a little bit of foam to do that. Okay. And then to finish this project off, we're going to pop a little verse on the inside. So I've taken one of the Snowflake oval dies, one of the smaller ones, and die cut that out. So we're going to pop that in the middle. Stick that there. And then we'll lift that over there. Okay, and then we're going to take the nested oval die, so that comes in the set. So we've got that die cut here. So we've used this one and then the one that nests in the middle. So I've got that one already die cut out, and we're going to take the little, I think this is Spirit of Christmas verse, this one. I always get the verse names confused because they're always so similar. So we're going to take our little stamp, we're going to dust over this oval with our anti-static bag. We're going to take our Wow Clear embossing ink pad, ink up that sentiment stamp, lots of light tapping, and then we're going to take our verse, stamp that in about the middle of the oval. If you prefer, you can stamp and emboss it first and then die cut. And then we will take our polished silver embossing powder. Don't want to get my leftover bits of hot glue in there. So pop that over the top, like that. That can go back into the jar. And then we'll heat this up. So I'm going to use a little paintbrush as well, just to brush away any extra little bits. There we go. So we've heated that up, and I think the super fine embossing powders work lovely for the verses as well, because it does pick the text up nicely. So then we're going to pop a little bit of foam just onto the back of there. Peel the backs off there. Stick that down. And that would then be your finished card. So let me just have a quick little tidy round of bits and pieces that I've got dotted all over here. And then I'll hold up the two cards. So I'll show you the one that we've just made and the lovely project that Christine made earlier as well. So let me just move these bits and pieces around. I just have to clear them out the way for the camera. There we go. Okay, so if I stand this one up here, if I pop that camera in, this is the one that we've just made. Okay, and this is the lovely project that, of course, Christine made earlier. So that is using the Christmas Bouquet collection. And you can see how we've created this lovely kind of fold back card using that bouquet and using a lovely verse in the middle as well. So I really hope you've enjoyed creating that project with me. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of our videos are on there, so please do have a little look. We've got lots of inspiration. All of the materials that I've used have been listed in the description below, so please do have a little look in there too. And I hope to see you again very soon. If you've liked this project, you can shop all of the products that I've used on our website at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. Thanks for joining me. Bye.